Hello. I think I pressed the right button. My OBS scenes are completely disorganized, and I'm hoping to work on that a little bit today. But yeah, I figured let's just go live and see what's going to happen today. How much time do I have? I have about 10 minutes to edit out of the VOD. We'll see if that actually happens. But hello, Alt, and anybody else that is here today. I need to update the Discord because I want to keep people up to date with how things are going. Let me adjust the camera to, also audio check. I have not done that yet. How do I go to my own YouTube? What's my style? youtube.com/thedantech. And let me make sure that I am audible. Good. I am audible. Sweet, sweet. Always nice to see there. Okay, let me adjust the camera. I'd love it to be more like on me, but getting everything finalized here. Well, finalized. I always say finalized. It's never really finalized. But thank you guys for hanging on out with me today. And anything that we're going to be doing, we're going to go where the wind takes us. Because I think I have some laptops over here I was going to diagnose and repair, but I'm going to do those in a more organized way so it's easier to edit for the VOD, because going through 3 hours worth of video content to find the parts that I need to edit is extremely taxing. And so I need also, that reminds me, I need to get Word open so I can remind myself. What is today? Today is the September, and let's see, I'll just do the timestamp so that way I'll know when I'm done where it will be. So just add this to the guild bank real quick. Raw footage, new videos, live streams, and we're going to have this live stream, and then what do we call it? Dossier? What's a fancy word for this? It's not transcript. Agenda. Agenda is a good one. But it's not really accurate. So agenda for timestamps plus timestamps. Yes, that's what we will do. Okay. So got that all set. All right, and then let's do the Discord here. Get rid of that. Perfect. Discord is done. And then I think we also have to do, we should do Twitch, right? Should I do Blue Sky? I'll do Blue Sky. They both get about the same level of engagement. Also, I found out that one of my monitors that I've got here, that I connected up here, that's HDMI only, because a few weeks ago I did the whole stream thing where I was rerouting all the cables and all the wires, and so I have 4 display ports and 1 HDMI. Well, unfortunately, the very exact specific monitor I have does not work that well with DisplayPort. It's a known issue, and while you can fix it by making a custom resolution with a custom refresh rate, it only works about half the time. And so what's happening is the screen will just kind of glitch out, and it's really, really distracting, I guess is the best way to put it. And if you adjust the resolution, it can fix it slightly, and it doesn't flicker as much, but it still does happen. So it's like, okay, so I plug this one in HDMI, but now I have another monitor here that's just mainly blocking the nice sunlight that I have, and that's HDMI only. So I need to figure out another way to get all these things, because guess what? You'd figure, okay, well, let's just go DisplayPort to HDMI. You can't do that unless you have an active connection, which is another cable you have to buy and another power cable you have to plug in. So I was like, So I'm not sure exactly what we're going to be doing yet in that capacity, but that is okay. It doesn't really matter what we're going to be doing in that capacity, because for now, we're just going to deal with it. It's not like I need 3 monitors at this point. It would be helpful, though, to have a 3rd monitor. I don't know. Let's see. Well, what should I say? Like, I'm live. Yeah, we'll just have that. I love how it when I post that I'm live, it takes whatever screen clip it currently is on. So it's like kind of like this right now. It's like I'm live. But that's fine. And then I also need to get some music going here as well. That's what I like. Oh, I'm also going to be talking about some potential collaborations and partnerships and some emails that I've gotten. Some seem kind of interesting, and I'm not sure if I'm going to follow through with it, but I might put that on, you know, show you guys the products and everything that I'm being offered, so to speak, and we'll see how that goes. I feel like video game music could be cool in the background for y'all. But I don't know what video game music I could do that would make it safe for the VOD, that would make it easy to edit. Because there is a way, and I talked about this with Alt before, there is a way to make it so that you can actually add audio while you're streaming that is there, but it doesn't get recorded on the VOD. So that could be something that would be nice, because it feels a little plain without anything going on, you know? At least I'd imagine. I mean, I know my voice is top tier, but still. Okay. I also got to find a way to self-entertain for the 3 hours while I do this. But it's not bad. Okay, get rid of all the extra tabs. And let's see, today I think I have another short that I need to release, because I usually want to do live streams and release a short. That's always stuff that is helpful. Let me check the studio real quick. The shorts on YouTube are always just something that's so unique and interesting. Like, I release a short, and according to YouTube and according to everything, the first 30 minutes of a short is like the make or break situation of a short. And I've had shorts that take off and get like 1,000 views in the first 30 minutes. And I've had shorts that get 10 views in the first 30 minutes. And they usually all wind up being the same, where they cap out at about 1,400 views, and then that's just it. I've got a couple of outliers, which isn't too bad, but the shorts game is really interesting. I like releasing them and I like making them because they're supposed to apparently be a driver for traffic for subscribers. But my shorts content has gotten me maybe like 15 subscribers since I've started to do it. So that could just be because my shorts are bad, you know? But I'm okay with that. But I also tweeted and put stuff out there saying that, hey, if anybody has any computer questions, I would love to answer them for you. But that's okay. No questions means my job is a little bit easier. So I need to move this. I guess I'll move that over on this screen because I'm going to be moseying on over here, which does remind me my camera is not... Okay. That's what I forgot to do today. I have my old phone that is not on. And therefore, because it's not on, it's also not connected to my computer. So I need to get those things done so that way I can live stream. Oh, I probably need a better light for this as well. I didn't think about that. If I'm going to do recording of the repairs. Huh. It's okay. I have another light that's like hanging over there that I can probably bring over here and do a top-down shot if I need to. But in the interim, though, I've got a Dell laptop here that I have no idea what's wrong with it, but I get to figure out what's wrong with it. And I also have a Lenovo ThinkPad here that I think I know what's wrong with it. I think this one is going to be something heat related, if I'm not mistaken. It's been a while since I've checked out this system, so I kind of need to investigate. But this one's a i5 10th gen, so it's an older system from 2019. Wow, 6 years old. It's crazy to think that this is 6 years old. And then the Dell is 2024. Okay, so only a year old on this Dell. Weird. So we'll see those. But, that's the thing I like doing, though. I like procuring old laptops to try to fix them. Because sometimes you can get lucky, sometimes you're not lucky. I really need to remove the pin. I've got like a pin and a fingerprint for my old phone. I really need to get rid of that because that's quite the annoyance there. Okay. I'm not going to mess with my hub today. I'm just going to plug it straight in to my computer like I did last time because I don't need any more problems. And then IV cam. And I did notice, and I don't think it's just me, but I did notice better quality with the camera itself. Trial expired. I'm on a trial? What? I can only use 640 by 480 low quality video. What do you mean? Purchase to remove ads, watermarks, and restrictions. Okay, I mean, I might actually purchase it. Because the IV cam has been working really, really well for me. But I don't have internet on this one. Well, let's go ahead and see what IV cam has. Let me open up. Well, I'll just open up this window over here. Let's see. IV cam. I had no idea I was on a trial. So purchase the PC client software. Okay, it's not bad. It's $25.95 for a permanent license, which is valid for life. That's not terrible, but let me make sure there's no other limitations that I'm gonna run into because I don't want to buy something and then find out that, oh, you're stuck. But let's see, 2 ways to purchase. Both of them can remove the ads, the watermark, and use full features. Oh, wait, purchase the app. This app can freely connect to any IVCam PC. No need to register the PC with your license code. Purchase the PC on this 1 year premium annual. Okay, there's no difference in functions between the trial version and the registered version. Huh. Okay. Because what I like about IVCam is it does actually connect like via USB. It looked really good. I've got no quarrels with it. But before I spend money willy-nilly, wait, VLC media player? What? What do you mean VLC media player? This is invigorating content, isn't it? Okay, so I still might need a network stream is what they say, and that's what I want to get away from. So install a streaming app like an IP webcam from your phone's app store. So you still need something on the phone, which is what I have. And then you just use that as the program. Okay. Well, then what we're going to do come back over here. I'm going to connect this phone to the internet, I guess. And we will see about getting that program. Wait, it says trial expired and I can only do what they say I can do. Okay, hold on a sec. Like, does that look like 680? 640 by 480 or whatever? I mean, that kind of looks fine to me. So, all right, in order to not give you guys hernias, I'm going to go ahead and change to just me while I connect this out. But, I mean, shoot. Why pay for something you don't need to? Oh, my knee. I hope the bench shook so you guys could see that I just rammed my knee into my, what, the Alex? Whatever that thing is. The desk from IKEA. Okay. And then let's go to repairs. And let's see what we can do to make this better. Yeah, so I kind of want it to be... Okay, this is straight to the camera, but it's really not straight to me. That's kind of, that's almost straight. So it's about like, this is straight to me. There we go. That's a little bit better. Obviously, I might need to make myself a little bit smaller here because it's a little weird being all the way over here. Then we just move the camera down. Duh. Oh, man. All right. I still think another light would do a little bit better, though. Like, I don't know if it needs, like, an overhead light, so I guess I might try an overhead light. Then we can get to doing some of these repairs and everything else. All right, so excuse me while I try to not bang my body parts into any other parts of anything around my desk. And get another light set up. You'll see it because you'll see like, just hope it's good. we had it pop up a few times. I couldn't find my cable for the power. And now I need to control it. Okay. That washes me out quite a bit. Let's see, the Dontech, is that this one? Okay. Bring that down. I mean, that washes me out a little bit more than I want it to. Maybe I need to lower it so it's not, I think it's going to do the same thing either way. I tell you, the one thing I'd love to learn, I'd really love to know, would be more things about lights and just how to properly do lights. I mean, all the stuff with Up-Tilt Gaming was nice, but that was such a controlled environment where we just kind of sat in the same places all the time. It didn't really matter because the element of what we were around was lit and it didn't really move. This studio is more evolutionary because not only am I sitting here, sometimes I'll sit over here, sometimes I'm repairing, sometimes it's just on me, sometimes I'm filming. So when I'm filming, the camera is further away from me and I need a different light position for that. So yeah, I'm almost going to get to the point of being so extra on this setup that I'm thinking of making it so that I have this table right here is for like recording. And then I add another table, another computer, another thing over on the other side. And that is purely for streaming with its own setup and its own lights and everything that doesn't have to move. This room isn't really big enough for that. But right now, the whole, more than half of the room right now, though, isn't really being used. It used to be a section where I would record some videos and some shorts and things like that. But it's not really set up in that way right now. So, all right. I'm going to start with the Lenovo laptop first, probably. Can I exit this without any problems? I can. All right, I can. Okay. And let's see, I'm going to need a screwdriver. Like, what good are all these kits near me and all these screwdrivers near me if I never, like, know where I put them? This isn't my iFixit kit, but it's good enough. I'm going to go to the Lenovo first. So let me get... I do want to get a blank SSD, though. And I also had Windows on some of these where I might need to do some installs. But because I think these might not have drives in them. And I know my chair is just horrendous and needs to be replaced. It's just when the chair sits and it feels just fine though on your bottom. Yeah, it's like losing. Where's the side? Not this side. It is this side. I need to move like this. No, it's this side. It's right here. Okay. Wow. It's trippy seeing it that way. You know, when it's doing all of this and all the fabric is going away, I don't know. It looks janky, but it's still comfortable. So right now we're about the, 34 minutes of doing almost nothing. All right, mouse needs to go over there. Got the spare drives over there. We're going to start with the Lenovo, but I need the power cord for a Lenovo. Please be USB-C. Okay, it's at least USB-C. Oh, wait. It kind of shows that it could be charging, but not quite. You don't really want to find out the hard way that is not USB-C by breaking it, you know? That's usually the last thing you want to do. But it also does have a standard barrel jack. Well, it's hard to call that a barrel jack because it's not a barrel, but that's just the other term for it, would be a barrel jack. So I have plenty of those over there. I'm going to get one real quick. And then we'll get working on repairing this Lenovo. All right. Well, I need to update the stream time again because I have now wasted another 2 minutes. It's okay. 36 minutes. And let's see, I still want this to be, you know, if I can move this a little bit more this way. What's this? Okay, get that out of there. Out of frame. Make it look, that's a little bit nicer there. All right. Whew. It's okay, y'all. I am a professional. All right, got that all set. So again, now we're at the 37.5-minute mark. I don't even know if the intro when I say like, what's up everybody, it's Down with the Tech, that's just kind of for me as an audio cue, because I want to adjust the videos where I'm not doing that intro, I'm just kind of getting right into the repair. But again, when you watch repairs, you're not really going for entertainment, you're trying to learn how to fix something. So, I don't know, we'll just, is it screws? Yeah, it's got screws. We'll just do what we need to do. So, visual or audio cue. So, what is up everybody, it's the Down with the Tech, and today I'm here to repair this Lenovo ThinkPad laptop. I have no idea what's wrong with it. I believe it has something to do with heat, but we're going to go ahead and show the process of tearing down this laptop, opening it up, how you diagnose, and then how you can repair said laptop. So follow along on this journey where we go through and figure it out. So first things we do, get a nice screw kit. This one has using a T5 most likely. I'm just going to go ahead and replace that for a PH0. Microphone wants to be right up in my face because I put it there. So PH0 is normally the best screwdriver bit to open these. I need my mouse. Okay. So I mean, this system here, I'm not even going to bother to turn it on just yet because I don't know if there's even a drive inside of it. So we're just going to go through the process of the disassembly. So this laptop here, you can see it's just got screws all the way around. These are all Phillips head screws. You just remove them and put them aside. And most of these should come out all of the way. And we're not going to be doing a deep teardown here on these. It's just going to be probably just the casing, maybe some other part removal, but I don't think we're going to need any different screw bits to go any further than this. It's probably going to be very similar to other videos that I've done where I found out what the problems are and sourced parts, showed you guys how to source parts, and go from there. Because like I said, I think this one's a heat thing, which would mean another heatsink replacement. Ah, yes, the funness. This is the cool part about the VODs, though. The videos afterwards, you just edit all this out. It does take a while to remove the screws. I've seen some people and heard of some people doing repairs where they like use a little, like an actual drill. Nah, you want to use a screwdriver. And these two screws are not wanting to actually lift up. Okay, that one is. But this one did not want to actually come up after I loosened it, but it will now, won't it? No, that one doesn't want to, which sometimes is okay if it's just one. You just got to be mindful that it's there. I'm going to just tip it over and give it a little tap, and it pops right out. And then this laptop should just be pretty easy to open with a little bit of counterforce. I got a microphone arm right in my way, though. It's like right over here is where the microphone arm is. So let me adjust that so it's a little bit more out of the way. And you can use pry tools. I don't like using pry tools. My hands are the pry tools. It's really just finding a good, solid grip on it, and then get a little bit of stuff loose, and then just pulling from there. And then you want to use equal force around where you're pulling, because you don't want to pull up and break any of the plastics, like breaking the case or anything like that. Because if you pull up on one side and it doesn't flex over here, it's just going to crack. So you don't want it to crack. So got this little thing for Ethernet there that's just kind of held in. I don't know if there's supposed to be a screw. That's fine. Or not a screw, a spring. And then we've got the laptop here. So what do we have going on? We have the DC jack that is disconnected, the battery that's disconnected, the slot for the SSD. This definitely looks like it's a problem. So you can see that moving right there. That's supposed to be flush. It's supposed to be like this, down. It's not supposed to have any sort of like up to it. So that means that this might have been impacted on the bottom or bent. This is where the SSD goes. And then under here, I don't like these little RAM shields. They're so annoying. I don't know what that is. That just came out. I'm sure that's fine. But this is really going to make me get all my tools out? Really? It's going to make me look like I don't know what I'm doing. I don't like using little pry tools. They make me feel like inferior to the product that I'm working on. There we go. And there's no RAM in here either. So this system has been gutted for sure. So I might need to get some RAM. I think I've got some spare RAM over there. But so just kind of unpacking all of this, right? Like it's the DC jack has been disconnected, the battery's disconnected, no SSD, RAM is gone. The CMOS is still connected. So I don't know why the DC jack would have been disconnected. I mean, it looked like it was in fine condition. And then this spot right here would be for the standard SATA SSD, which is held in by screws, so we don't need to worry about that right now. Okay, well, let's just go ahead and plug in the battery. That just kind of pushes right in. And we've got the DC jack that'll kind of push right in as well. Contrary to popular belief, it is not like a Lego. And this heatsink is broken. It is so I can just see it from this angle. I don't know if you guys can see it too. I was just like going up. It's broken. It's busted. Turning the computer on, we do risk damaging things. And Lenovo does not have a temperature sensor usually in the BIOS themselves, though we can find out and see. A little bit of time won't completely hurt anything. But you generally, if you've got a faulty heatsink, it means it's not going to be able to keep the processor cool. Oh no, I don't have any way to plug this in. I do. I found a way. But generally, once you notice that your laptop is having heat issues, you definitely don't want to use it unnecessarily. Because if you're unable to cool your processor correctly, or the graphics chip or whatever else is getting power, or trying to be cooled with a heatsink that's faulty, you can burn it out and then it won't work correctly. All right, we have a light. I think that popped up that we do have this, at least it's able to receive power. And it's able to turn on. Let's do F12 here. Well, I don't need to get into the boot menu. I need to get into the BIOS. You can't go to the boot menu here. So let's do Control, Alt, and Delete. And spam F2 here. We got Lenovo post screen. I mean, that's good. So, should be fine. Oh, wait. That's boot menu? Okay. Turn this around here. App menu. Okay, setup. That's what we want to do. We want to go to the setup. This does have a diagnostic menu, so maybe this will show us the temperatures as well. Yeah, this BIOS is way too basic to have anything that would show temperatures or anything there. So this is just a Lenovo ThinkBook 15. Date and time is seemingly fine, just about. So let's do this and try to do some of those diagnostics. And then I'll also do a good old-fashioned test by touching. Okay. That's the diagnostics. That's it, really? Oh, and so it does have 8 gigs of RAM built into it itself. And then some other RAM that is additional, but then you're mixing and matching RAM. That's a terrible practice. I don't know why they get so cheap and do it that way. Okay. It's not too hot yet at the chip. Surprisingly. This should be much hotter than it is right now. Because I can see a impact and a bend like right there. I mean, I would be really surprised if this is a functional heatsink. So I'm going to get I wish I had a test SSD that I could just like, that would be smart to have. A test SSD with Windows already on it. So that way I can go right into the hardware monitoring stuff. So maybe that's what we'll do today. We'll just kind of build out that test bench. I've got plenty of spare drives here. Does this have a screw for it? It does not have a screw for it. Awesome. I love that one. It doesn't have a screw. I mean, this one is HP spare 5. This one might already have Windows built in. But I would really love to have the ability to have the screw, put that in there to hold that drive in place. But for testing, it is okay to not have that drive in place. Like fully secured as long as you know what you're doing, because it won't get dislodged just from sitting there. We'll just kind of see if this boots into Windows. Okay, it's booting to Windows 11. That's good. I'm going to just kind of put it like this, though, because I don't know what it's going to boot into. It should be a fine drive with, as far as I can tell, nothing on it. But I just want to make sure I didn't pull this from something that has anything that, you know, pulls up and says, hey, you know. Okay, seems like it's just a fresh version of Windows 11 23H2. Okay, I hear the fan going quite a bit, which tells me that it's now starting to feel the heat. And this looks like it's just a basic load of Windows. Okay, well, cool. That makes my job a little bit easier. I would have preferred Windows 10, but that's fine. Just standard. Get out of here, Edge. It's annoying when you accidentally click Edge and it's like, do you want to confirm all of these settings? No, I don't want to confirm all these settings. Get out of here. Okay. So we've got that. And now it's very warm to the touch, but not like excruciatingly warm. And the heat is transferring. The heat is transferring all the way down. So now I need to get a USB adapter. Y'all, I know I have 2 USB to Ethernet adapters. Like, without a shadow of a doubt, I know I had 2 of them, and they were, like, over here. And now they're not. Because this thing does have Ethernet, but without that bottom casing on there, it's not going to sit incorrectly, so I need to use USB Ethernet. So let me try to undo myself and see what that could be. Okay. And then I have a spare Ethernet. And it looks like a USB on that side, but it's really weird. So I'm just going to do this because this will be a little bit easier on me. I will have to open up Edge, unfortunately, because that's all I've got on here. And I'm going to get hardware monitor. I was going to want to do all these updates, but once that's kind of done, I know it's ready. Download, please. How do people browse the web without AdBlock, bro? I really don't get it. Okay, there we go. Oh, now you want to download it 4 times. Okay, thank you. Again, this is not how I normally do anything with a computer. This is just for diagnostic purposes only. But hearing that fan going as loud as it's going, it's definitely probably going to be the problem. Let's find where the CPU is at. Core's right here. So 55 degrees Celsius, capping up to 82 degrees Celsius. That's not terrible. Um, 87, 96. I mean, that's... Yeah, you guys couldn't really see it. That's not the worst temperatures in the world. But I think it's definitely not able to... It's just getting hot, but I don't think it's able to transfer the cooling, the gas from the actual heatsink itself down through the fins to be cooled off. It's just heating up. And maybe because this doesn't just use so much power, it's okay. Yeah, 90 degrees Celsius at running at idle. You don't want that. Obviously, you don't want that sort of stuff on idle. So... Well, that makes this one a little bit easier because we're going to now go through back to eBay and find the part and go from there. I should also reference the parts because I wouldn't mind selling these. And sometimes I sell laptop, or like I wouldn't mind fixing laptops up, donating them, selling them, whatever the case may be. But especially if that's seemingly all that's wrong with this laptop is just the actual heatsink itself. And I mean, that really seems to be the only thing that was wrong with it. We got into Windows, we got into the operating system just fine. It was able to, you know, the battery seems like it's charging okay, is able to take AC power even though the DC jack was disconnected. So I just think it's this actual heatsink. And then that will make a double video, because if I do get the heatsink, then I can show you guys how to replace the heatsink again. But it's pretty much relatively the same old rinse and repeat most of the time you have a faulty heatsink on some of these systems. I just want to pull the battery out itself, gently tug on that, and it will just come right out. Not like a Lego, though. Not like a Lego. And then you've got a couple of different things here. Let me see if I can zoom in without breaking anything. Okay. Eventually, I'd love to zoom in and actually, you know, have more control over it. That's what makes me want to have an actual camera versus a phone camera, because this is still kind of like wonky stuff. But let's see how close we can, well, let me do it this way. Okay, do you want to, you know, maybe focus on that just a smidge? Just a smidge? There we go. All right. That right there is what we're going for. Whatever that part number is. Okay. Pause it. Got it? All right. Easy. So that's going to be the part number we're going to need. And then that will link us with the part on eBay. And this one will be really simple to repair once you have it. I mean, it's just a solid piece, and it's going to be held in by 4 screws here. Remove the screws, clean up the thermal paste, add new thermal paste, install this heatsink. Don't bend it. And then you should have perfect cooling on the system. Add a new SSD with a reinstall of Windows, upgrade the RAM if you want to do that. And you've got a pretty solid system here for only the cost of, you know, the time and the knowledge, and whatever the heatsink will cost, which should be like 20 bucks or less. It really shouldn't be that much money. So let me try to get to my, how did I have it? I had it like, what, it was a, let me open up Brave. And go to eBay, and let me see if this will work here. Where was that scene? Computer browse? Oh, okay, I got it. There we go. Well, wait, where am I? I'm supposed to be here somewhere. It's starting VRB, repairs, laptop control, not that one. See. Editing PC, and then computer browse. But why am I not here? Let me go ahead and paste reference. Boom. Magic. Easy. Oh, wait, you know what I did? I did that on laptop control, didn't I? No? That's where it was. Okay, that was the scene we were going for. So it's Brave browser is inside of this one. I don't know if this looks any better than just having me over the Brave browser itself, but we're going to go to eBay. And we're just going to go ahead and search this part here. So technically, I can just remove this, but then I won't really have the repair section of how to remove it. So I'm not going to remove it. I'm just going to get it really close to my face so I can see what the part number was. So on eBay, as we do, the part number was 3MLVA HS0020. And let me just go ahead and search here. Was it ThinkPad? No, ThinkBook 15IML. Wait, no, it's not, yeah, so when I'm searching up heatsink somewhere else, I'm getting one that's, yeah, tested. I'm getting a lot of fans, though, but not the actual heatsink itself. So if there's no actual known good heatsinks available, though I might have found one that's available from China for $50 including shipping. But a lot of times in the shipping, they're including the tariffs. So, and that doesn't even match the right picture anyway. That's why the part number is really important versus just searching up the model that you have. So, okay, well then that's a fun little no-go there on that one. If there's no parts available besides these. Well, what do you do when the parts you need for a laptop aren't reliably available? That is also a really unique question there. So I wouldn't recommend, like I said, a used part. It's going to be like this. It's not going to work correctly. Temperature's going to have problems, all that fun stuff. Well, I feel like that will then end the Lenovo. So I can go ahead and make the note there. Lenovo end at 1:04, or an hour. Hour 4 minutes. And then Dell laptop. All right. Ugh. Cool. Well, there's that with the Lenovo. We know what the problem is, but there's no parts available for it. So if there's no parts available, you can't fix it. But that is excruciatingly common with laptops that were pre-COVID, which is anything that was very early 2020 and before. Those are called pre-COVID laptops, and all of those just, I mean, the part manufacturers, once all the lockdowns hit, all the part manufacturers overseas that make these parts completely shut down, just like overnight, and they were gone. And then unless there's been any overrun of those parts that were already in existence, no new parts were made for any of these older laptops. And it's plaguing the repair thing and the right to repair, because you can't repair things if parts aren't being manufactured. And the manufacturers, Lenovo, Dell, HP, Acer, Asus, all those guys, they're not required to make laptop parts for a certain period of time, like for a longer than normal period of time. Whereas, you know, me and my wife just replaced our dryer that's from 2004. Like, we just repaired it by replacing with OEM parts that are still manufactured. A 21-year-old dryer had parts for it, but a 6-year-old laptop doesn't. Now, I don't think the manufacturers are required to for the dryer side. I don't know enough about that, but it's nice when it's available. So, next laptop. Let me zoom out a little bit here. There we go. No more, please. Okay. Next laptop we have here is a Dell laptop. Excuse me, I have zero clue what is wrong with this laptop. Absolutely zero clue. I see a bag sticking out here, so it probably has like the screws in it, because I don't see any of the screws on it. It's got 2 screws on the backside here, and these 2 screws would usually be like, they hold in so they don't actually come out, and then you'd have the other screws around, just have to take out there, and all those are missing. And this is a Inspiron. That's all I know. It's an Inspiron. so let me... This was already kind of like loose anyway, so it's not a big deal there. And yeah, I got the screws there, so that's not a big deal. And this laptop on the inside looks fine. Heatsink looks okay. It has an SSD, it has RAM in there. This hinge mount screw is not in all the way, which is near the DC jack, which tells me that maybe there was an issue with the DC jack itself. The heatsink does feel a little up here as well. See, I should be like flush. But there's a little bit of tolerance there that could be just the way that it is. I don't feel or see anything along the heatsink that would indicate that it's like dented or damaged. Maybe a little bit here at the corner, but this is also where it meets another piece of metal. So that could just be what they had to do to get that to meet. So a lot of things when it comes to diagnosing laptops is marking when you're diagnosing the laptops. Excuse me, so we'll make that about 106. For the diagnosis on the Dell. When you're diagnosing laptops or computers or really anything, a lot of it is just kind of process of elimination and investigating things based on the symptoms that it may have. And just, you know, visual stuff is also important as well, because you can see if there's any liquid that's been done to the system, any corrosion, if there's any burnt chips. That's a big giveaway that it had a significant failure. And a lot of times, though, you're not going to have burnt chips. That's a really, really rare thing unless you had such a significant power event. And then a lot of times when you open the laptop, that smell will still linger, so you'll still have it. But battery is connected, so let's just go ahead and see if we get power. This is one that might turn on automatically when it's powered on automatically when it's opened, but no power, which can mean that the battery itself is defective. So let's get our what should be a functional Dell 65 watt AC adapter. I'm assuming this does have a barrel jack on the side here. Also, is that USB? That's probably not USB for charging. It's probably just USB for data. And just plug this in. We see if we get any lights. Okay, so there is a white light there that came on when it's plugged in. That's good. It means the unit is receiving power, but receiving power doesn't always mean it's going to actually power on. The caps lock light is automatically on right now, just as I'm opening it, I'm pretty sure. Okay, it's giving some white beeps on the right side here. It gave 3 white beeps and 5. So it's either 5-3 or 3-5, but you can't really tell because I didn't pay attention to which one went first, and that kind of matters. So let's go and plug. I want you guys to see this though. Let's see this together. So focus right here. Come on, focus. You had it. There we go. Let's count the beeps. Well, we call them beeps, but they're just flashes. Let me turn it on. It's when it starts blinking is when you would start counting. So 1. No, it's just on. Okay. That was 3. Okay, 5. So it's a 3-5 beep code, essentially. Beep code is what it would be considered, 3-5 beep code. So then what we do is we go over to our browser and we search up Dell Inspiron 3-5 code. Were they amber? I don't think they're amber. I think they're all white. Because sometimes it could be amber and white. Sometimes they'll just be amber. Sometimes they'll just be white. Okay, so it's 3 amber. I didn't see that. So 3 amber, 5 white. is what this particular code is. So let's see. And the first one is from 2024, which is when this laptop was manufactured. So kind of advice, how does startup issue, Inspiron, power on, battery light, blinks, format 3 times amber and 5 times white. Seems like the power source evaluation from some old BIOS firmware. Power rail failure. Okay. So if there's power rail failure, then that's going to be a replacement board. But let's see, there's a Dell technical support site here talking about the exact cases for this. And this is a laptop, diagnostic LEDs for the Inspiron laptops 2020 to 2025, because why keep it all the same? You know, why not change it all? All right, so 3 amber and 5 white. Yeah, power rail. So EC ran to power sequencing failure. Contact Dell technical support for further troubleshooting. Cool. Well, that's not fun. Sometimes, though, that can be a deep hibernation, low power state. So then what we'll do is reseat some of the other components and try to clear out some things. So the best way to do that is take anything that is connected to the unit that is going to be given any sort of power or maintain any sort of data, which is going to be the RAM, the SSD, the battery, which is already disconnected, and the CMOS. Now, a lot of these, though, the CMOSs are embedded in, which is just like when you do that to the RAM. A terrible design choice, absolutely terrible. But let's see here. I don't see anything that would indicate CMOS. And usually a lot of times if you can't see it, it's going to be on the underside of the board is going to be the CMOS, and then usually it's going to be soldered on to some capacity. Because why make all these other components easily accessible and removable if you're going to put the CMOS on the underside? It's always possible though, but I don't feel like doing a complete teardown of this laptop yet. But we'll see where the day goes. But I just removed the RAM, SSD, battery, and then we're just going to open up the laptop again without the power connected, hold the power button a couple of times to just make sure that everything is fully cleared and flush from the system. Oh boy. So you guys excited about the Nintendo Direct tomorrow? While I wait for this, I'm going to talk about my exact hype things and feelings about the Nintendo Switch 2. So with the Nintendo Switch 2, I am not really interested in buying it just yet. I'm waiting for a game to make me want to buy it. For example, I want to play Pokemon Legends ZA. I think it'd be kind of fun, but I don't want to play it on the Switch. Scarlet Violet killed playing Pokemon on the Switch anymore for me. I don't want to deal with that lag fest anymore, even though the game was really, really fun. But on the other hand, I don't want to spend $500 just for one video game. I know that it'd be more video games in the future, but Pokemon ZA isn't quite that for me. Games that would make me buy a Switch 2, though, would be a new Animal Crossing, a new Smash, or Pokemon Gen 10, which Gen 10 is at least another, maybe even 3 years away at this point. Who knows? But I think it's possible that Smash might be teased tomorrow. And that will be because they need to really hype up the console a little bit. And they did this with, I mean, they didn't do it with the original Switch this early. You know, I wasn't really big on the original Switch's life cycle. I know that it was out for a while before Smash was teased, I think. I remember Alt had one, and I was like, wow, I don't need one of those. There's no games on it that I care about. And now it's like my #1 played console. Way more than my PS5. So we're going to add power back here, and we're going to go ahead and turn it back on. And if it is something else than power, we will be getting different error codes out of this light here. So 1, 2, 3. And then it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Doing the same thing without the RAM and the SSD inside of it usually means that it is going to be power related, because you'll get, because it goes to a different sequence of what is important for testing when it's going through these sort of things. And if it doesn't notice RAM, but it's getting power, it will blink with the error code of memory is not installed, or if there's video display or something like that. But it's this fact that we're getting the same exact code with these removed after cycling through the power does tell you that the issue is going to be directly with that power rail itself. I don't want to fully take this laptop apart, because if I do, I'm not going to put it back together. I'm just going to recycle it if I do that. I don't really know if I feel like doing that, you know? It's probably fine. This was like, wait, this says 2022 on here. But this says 2024 on here. The manufacturer year was 2024 on here. 2022 there. Very interesting. So did this laptop sit for 2 years before it was sold? But this was probably a budget system anyway. Looking at the RAM, I mean, it does look like it had 16 gigs of RAM, which is a little bit more advanced than what you'd see on some of these standard laptops, and a 1 terabyte NVMe SSD. So I don't get why you would buy a bare bones system and then upgrade like that. But because alternatively, it's just a Ryzen 7 on here. And those chipsets on these boards usually just don't last that long either. Well, okay. Do you want to do a full teardown of this laptop? Say how to fully tear down the Inspiron something or other. An Inspiron 15. The only way I'll put it back together is if there is a CMOS under here that we can remove and adjust. If there's no CMOS, I'm not going to put it back together. We're just going to call it a day. And I'll go on to other more important tasks that I can do. So first things, we want to get it kind of framed nicely. Will this be a second video? Because it's like diagnosing and opening. I didn't even do an intro when I was opening this one. So that might not even be worthwhile because I didn't diagnose anything. It could be some worthwhile tidbits, maybe like some shorts or something like that. I've got no idea. But let me make another note here of what we're doing next. And we're about 121. I wouldn't mind this being like a better quality camera though. I'm so torn. Earlier in the chat, I was like, oh man, I love the way this camera looks. But now the face cam is more like clear on me than this is down here. But maybe that's because I didn't pay for the license. I don't know. But now we're going to tear down this Inspiron 15. Whatever it is will be probably text on the screen, because we are having a power issue and we want to figure out if this thing has a CMOS battery on it. Now I could look up the part number on eBay and find the part, look at the schematics for the part and try to see if it has a CMOS, but that's not as fun content. I've already done enough stuff on eBay. So we're just going to tear out all the screws here, show how to disassemble this particular laptop and gain access to removing the board itself. And let's see, I want to do it in a way where I'm not like super... gosh, hold on. IP cam, why are you doing that? Why? Why are you doing that to me? Because it just rotated the camera completely on me, which was exceptionally rude for it to do. All right, let me try to fix it. Ugh. There we go. There we go. Okay, now stay like that, please. That was the way I wanted you to be. Okay. There we go. How do I want the chair to be like, not, you know? There we go. Now I won't be moving a whole bunch. Is that am I moving the table that daggone much just by like barely moving my arm? This is a heavy table. So I guess first things you want to do when you are going to be disassembling a laptop, remove the actual battery cable itself, so that way you don't have anything providing power to the unit when you don't want to, especially if you're going to be removing the heatsink. So a couple of things here that you need to remove. Really just, you start off with the Wi-Fi. There's no real order that you need to remove things in. It's just as long as you get everything removed. So I'm just going to remove things based on what I see, and I'm going to stick all the screws over in here. I'm not going to care too much about where the screws are at or what types of screws there are, because I don't think this laptop is going to go back together when I'm done here. But if you're doing it, you want to really make sure you're paying attention to where all the screws are. I'm going to do this in a little bit of a way, though. So anything that's going to be considered an external screw that is holding components onto the actual board is what we're going to remove first. That started with the Wi-Fi antenna. We're going to remove the heatsink, the hinge mounts, and this little deal here. And then we'll get to the actual motherboard screws themselves. But I did just get a notification on my phone. I am expecting something today, which is not that. Okay, cool. Okay. Yo, work very much has me occupied, but I am lurking. I appreciate the lurk. I appreciate the lurk. I don't know if you have audio, so I'm gonna say I appreciate that. And hope you slept well. Cool. All right, so let's go ahead and remove, we got the little Wi-Fi connection here, so just slide that up and then out. And the antennas, you don't really need to worry about disconnecting at this point. You can just kind of move them out of the way. I like to do things as easily as I possibly can, if possible. I don't want to do more work. Who wants to do more work than they have to? So we got that out of the way, and then we're going to go ahead and remove the heatsink itself. And again, I'm still using the PH0 screw bit adapter itself on my little toolkit. Sometimes you might need to go for a PH1, but you should very rarely have to go for a PH00 unless you're dealing with something a lot smaller. So we're just removing all the screws here. It seems like these screws are, what are they called when they're held in? Whatever that is. I want to say capacitive screws or something like that, but that doesn't seem right. But whenever the screws are held into the actual material, that's what these screws are. So they're not actually going to come out. And this is that tiny little heatsink for that Ryzen processor there. Make sure you don't bend that though, because then you're going to have the same problem where you can't cool it. We don't need to remove the fan necessarily. We have this I/O board that we can remove here though. But first we're just going to go for anything else, which is going to be over here. We're going to have these two screws to remove for the hinge itself. And then with that removed, I'm just going to lift up the laptop a little bit, and that will loosen that hinge mount. So that way we can lift it up and then out of the way and have full access to anything else, which we did have a screw that was hidden under there, so you got to be careful of that. And that's really all the screws, except maybe these two over here, that are holding anything in externally. It's probably just like metal shielding, but it doesn't want to come up. So, okay, that wouldn't really be technically an external screw, I guess. And then all the other screws we've got just going kind of up to bottom, you know, top to bottom. For me, we have a screw down here. Maybe a screw under here, that's sometimes common. And then we're going to have a screw here and a screw here. So that's only 4 visible screws right now. Let's gently remove some of these cables. So this has a little plastic tab on it, and you just pull that gently in the opposite direction. So to me, it's like to myself, pull that gently, and then you're going to reveal the ribbon cable underneath it. That will slide out, and then you can move that to the side. These are not like Legos, though. Because Legos, guess what? Legos, you can't damage if you take it out wrong. Legos, you can't damage if you try to put it in right or in wrong. So, it's very delicate materials. And then the DC jack cable was not held in by anything. It just kind of slides outward as well. And then that's just going to kind of come out. So that's okay. Won't need that though. And then we had another screw here. What was that? No, that's not a screw. That's a post. Sorry, my angle made it look like a screw. So that's not a screw. It's a post. And then we've got this, okay, that over there. So, and then down here at the bottom, we have this keyboard cable, and that's going to be another ribbon cable. This little blue thing here will be a pull tab. You can pull out the cable after you lift up the retention arm here. And then we have this here, which is going to be the TP, stands for trackpad. That in the same way is going to just come right out. This here is going to be what? The speakers? Yeah, SPK is what it'll say under here. This is going to slide up or out. I can't quite tell from my angle. I want to say that's going to slide up, but I can't. You don't want to find out the hard way. Okay, it isn't up. I don't know why they wouldn't just make this one a regular ribbon cable, why they do it the different way. Because some things will just kind of be they'll be lined up and then pressed down, and then this one was just lifted up. Sorry, the camera's like a little so far away, but we deal with what we got. Push those to the side. This is going to be the connection for the fan. This is something that slides in or out, so you just kind of pull it out gently from the actual cable. And then here you have a daughter board that's going to be connecting to this USB port, audio jack, and maybe a card reader on the left side here. So that just is another retention arm that lifts up, and then this blue tab allows you to pull the cable right out. So we don't need to remove the fan at this point. Everything else now is removed from the actual board itself as far as I can see. And then you just take your screwdriver, remove the 4 final screws, and then we'll have access to look at the underside of the board. And you just kind of find an angle. Oh yeah, that just releases right out. So that's super easy to remove that board. Super, super nice. And on the bottom side, exactly as expected, there's nothing here that would resemble a CMOS that is able to be removed in any capacity. So because of which, this is going to be considered a bad board. And unless you want to go through and try to test the particular, like anything on the circuit board to see like, okay, this is where the exact failure is at, and then try to reflow or resolder, you can do that, but I definitely wouldn't recommend it. Mainly because, one, you're usually not going to have the skill set available to be able to do that. Secondly, even though it might seem easy to find whatever the thing is that's faulty and then replace it, these are all done by machines. They're not done by human hands. So the precision on these, with how small this stuff is, usually can't be replicated reasonably well. And a lot of times, if you do end up replacing whatever is the problem and the fault, and you resolder it and then you get it all back and going, you get power to the system, your solder job and repair job is usually not going to be good enough to be able to withstand the heat and the expansion and contraction that's going to happen as this board continually warms up and cools off. That's a lot of things that we see. You look up these things online of like, oh yeah, let me just do a reflow, let me just do this. Yeah, we can get it to work. Of course, you might be able to be successful for a while, but long-term repairs, usually it's not going to be the case. You might get lucky though. There's some outliers. It's not like everything will be like that all the time, but that's been my general experience. It's usually just not worth it. If you're a hobbyist and you want to do it, sure. If I had time to do it and I could make like 100,000 or 1,000,000 views doing it on YouTube, yeah, it'd be worth it. But that's not something that's going to be up my alley to care to do to show or anything. So that's how you have it with this repair. Well, disassembly, I guess. And then the board, if you're going to reinstall it, very easily to just kind of put it back in. When you are reinstalling the board though, let's say on eBay we found a board, we got a new board, we wanted to replace it for the power. What you'd want to do is really make sure that when you're plugging, you're putting everything in, you want to be mindful of all of these cables, because all it takes is some of these cables to get trapped under the board. You get it all installed and then you're like, oh man, my keyboard doesn't work. Why doesn't my keyboard work? It's not plugged in because you left it underneath the board. So you gotta be very careful when you're installing everything to make sure that everything goes exactly where it needs to be and everything is up and out of the way. And kudos to Dell though, they did make this pretty simple of a laptop repair if you were to go this route. A lot of laptops though do not keep it this basic, so to speak. This IO shield right here, that would be a little tricky, but you just use some plastic pry tools a little bit, get it out of the way, and then everything I believe that we took out is easily, readily accessible. Oh, trackpad right here. So see that you gotta always double check to make sure that nothing is underneath. So we have that. Batteries obviously up here, trackpad, wireless, speakers, fan, I/O. This is the display cable. The DC jack was kind of like taken out of the system itself, and then you had nothing else that was connected. And then you had the hinge mount that goes over here that will screw in on these 2 points, and that's really all there is to it. So that's the end of that one though, because I'm not going to be bothering to put this one back together. I've showed enough of it, and I'm just going to scrap this laptop pretty much because it's probably not going to be worth putting a board into. And you can always try to sell these laptops for parts and everything as well, but if you can't test them, then you're really kind of saying like, oh, I'm selling this computer, but I can't guarantee it works. But the RAM would not be bad. He's got 16 gigs of RAM out of it. That's not terrible. DDR4 RAM. And then you have a 1 terabyte NVMe SSD. That's not bad either. Not it's a Toshiba? No. KIOXIA. Kosha? I don't know how to say that stuff. It's kind of like when you read a whole bunch of books. I'm not saying I read a lot of books, but you read a lot of books and you see the words, but you never really say them anywhere other than just in your head. And then you have to say them. And it's like, wait a second. All right. So the first hour and a half was diagnosing and disassembling 2 laptops. That is not all that bad. We were successful with neither of them, though. That is okay, though, if we're not successful. That's just how it goes sometimes. I wouldn't say we weren't successful. We're just not finding the parts to replace what we need to replace. And I will clean all that stuff up. Later. So let's see. Well, I guess I can mark the end of that Dell repair then on my deal. And at 136. That won't be too bad. I mean, that's what, 15 minutes of a teardown of a laptop? Those videos do perform relatively well as well, because a lot of people are looking on how to tear something down, and that's evergreen content, because somebody might buy this and be like, how do I remove the motherboard from this? The Don's got your back right there. Ugh, I should not be as tired as I am today, though. I am just exhausted. That's okay. What would you guys like to see next? Now, what do we have next to do? Put my phone back in my pocket. Wow, okay, where's this? Is this the... That's my phone. I don't need my phone cable connection right now. That wasn't in there the whole time, was it? I don't think it was. I can't remove it in post. It's fine. All right, well, let's go ahead and get slightly cleaned up here then. Because these adapters are still good. So I try to hang on to some of these adapters, even if the laptop's not good. You can use it for other diagnostic tools. But then what happens is you have a handful of old AC adapters that you can't use anymore because they don't manufacture laptops anymore. Or if they all go USB-C, I had a rubber band. If they all go USB-C, then those are relatively universal as long as you're using a like decently rated USB-C, not just some random thing off of Amazon. You want to use like a Dell or HP properly rated USB-C adapter because not all USB-C is created equal. But one of the testers that I do like is like a 130 watt Dell USB-C AC adapter. It's quite nice. And it used to be like back in the day, a lot of Dells and a lot of HPs used the same adapter, but they wouldn't let you be used. They wouldn't let them be used with their other system. They had the technologies in there to verify, hey, this isn't being plugged into a Dell. How dare you? I don't think they quite do that with the USB-C variants anymore. Because you can't really, if it's USB-C, it's USB-C. You can't make it like proprietary in that capacity on the connection side. At least I think. I haven't really run into that problem though. And that might be why there's such a big push to not have USB-C as the primary AC adapters, because then manufacturers can't sell you on their main adapter. But genuine adapters are really, really important to use for various different reasons. Because they're made with a certain standard, with a certain ability, that if you buy a generic one for $10 on Amazon, yes, it fits, yes, it might power it, but it's not made with the same requirements to regulate the voltage and the power and everything in the same way, then you can have problems. Well, let's see here. All right, get rid of all these browsers that we're not using anymore. You know what I wouldn't mind showing, actually? I'm going to set this up so I can show you guys and ask a question. Let me open up Brave again here. Normally, I don't care to discuss this sort of stuff because my inbox gets hit all the time. With a ton of different, hey, we'll send you this product for free if you'll review it, yada, yada, yada. The typical small YouTuber things. And I get hit with a lot of those constantly. It's almost like one or two a day sometimes. I'm getting hit with these emails of just like sponsoring these random things. It's like, I don't want my channel to be full of junk. I mean, know that I could have been given probably by now 50 to 60 free products to review and test. Not me. I don't want to do that. But I did get an email the other day that has some products on there that actually seem pretty interesting. So I wanted to show them on a browser, if I can get it configured to show it correctly, go through them and give the examples of like why I think they could be good, why I might actually want to test them, and kind of go from there. But let me just, let me move over here real quick and configure something with Brave browser. So I would need to get all the things set up there. And then it'll also give me a time to look through. It'll give me the option to look through you know, the email in a more correct way. But I'm just not sure here. So, okay, I think I can open these just fine. I also don't like giving free publicity and free like press to, you know, companies unnecessarily. But this one did definitely strike my eye. Okay, so I think everything that I'm changing here should automatically save. But I might not be able to do what I want to do. I'll see. Nope, still not doing exactly what I want it to do here. Oh, let me actually try Firefox here. I'm just trying to see the best configuration that I can do for it. I don't think any of these would work the way that I plan on it doing. That's okay though. It's okay. I'm the Don Tech. I can probably figure something out on the fly. Okay, maybe I have something going here. Let me double check. Kinda. All right. I think I've got it. Okay, now let me try to open up all the products here. Get rid of those windows. Oh, whoopsies. Now I'm just closing everything. That's fine. it's good to restart every now and again. And let's go to that email here. I just got to copy a ton of links. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. How many am I? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Phew, okay. I've got all the product pages open. And let me just verify one final time if everything looks good to me. Okay. That's pretty decent. Let me go ahead and go over to that screen then real quick. We got computer browse. No? I thought it was computer browse. Maybe it's the wrong. Okay, there we go. It didn't pull from the right one because it wasn't. All right, now I know I didn't pull from it because it wasn't on the. I have it set to do a Brave browser when it's a private window and like a new tab, but this was not a new tab because I had stuff already populated on it. So easy enough there. Okay. So I got an email from this company called PC Cooler. And they reached out so kindly. They said, YouTube collaboration with PC Cooler with PC cooling, cases, and power supplies. So, hi, the Dontech. I hope you're doing great. I'm William from the Amazon team at PC Cooler, a trusted brand specializing in premium PC cooling solutions, gaming cases, and power supplies. We're currently looking to collaborate with top creators like you, I appreciate it, to showcase our flagship products. We'd love to offer you 1 to 2 items of your choice for review, PC build content, or unboxing. Here are some of our current featured products available on Amazon. And they sent me a list of 10 products that I have here that I'm going to go through. Let us know which 1 to 2 products you'd be most excited to feature. We'll ship them to you free of charge to support your next build, review, or unboxing content. Looking forward to the opportunity to collaborate and showcase high-performance PC hardware together. Best regards, William. Now, this is where I get into the thick and nitty-gritty of how I am as a content creator, educator, YouTuber, all that sort of stuff. I, for starters, cannot be purchased in any capacity. I mean, unless we're talking like 7 figures, then yeah, I'll be purchased. For 7 figures, we'll do that. But generally, like I said, I'm not in the interest of showcasing garbage to you guys. I don't want to do that. That doesn't make any sense for me as a creator to focus on that. I can turn off the light here to make this better real quick. It doesn't make any sense to ruin my credibility. Was this the light? Cool. As a content creator for a free part. That makes no sense to do that whatsoever. And I know that other YouTubers out there are like, oh yeah, man, I do the same thing. No, but I've lived long enough. I've done long enough. I know how business works. I know how dealings work. I have no interest in doing that sort of stuff. But this one did genuinely catch my eye. I haven't reached out or replied back to William yet, and I still don't know if I'm going to, but I wanted to look through them more now while I had time to see, would this be something I would actually want to go through? And I already have a mindset of like yes and no's to some things when it comes to the parts that they're offering. But I figured let's look through a little bit more in detail, and maybe it could be a decent deal overall. I don't know the ins and outs quite yet when you work with brand deals and partnerships on what you have to disclose and what you shouldn't disclose and what you can't disclose. But in this configuration right here, I have not accepted anything from William. We're not under any sort of agreement for anything. I don't know who this guy is. We haven't talked in any capacity. So I can talk about the email that I got freely to discuss with you guys. And all it seemingly is exactly the email that I read, where I would be compensated with a free product to review and unbox and all that sort of stuff. That's pretty much what I'm compensated for. So, not too bad. To see product details, add this item to your cart. Okay, I don't know why this one is showing that, not the price. But this one, when I saw it previously, was like $110 for this particular part. And it's an air cooler, and I've been on liquid cooling for an extremely long time, but air coolers have become they've been manufactured in such a better way when they have 6 to 8 heat pipes that they can tremendously cool your CPU. And this one is not too bad because it says 8 heat pipes, dual tower. I think it has like 3 fan configurations you could do, or maybe just 2 fan configurations, but I was like, that's not too bad. Now with my current setup though, I have no computers that I can actively remove the heatsink from to test. I just don't. I'm not taking this computer off the wall unless the cooler in it fails. And then if it fails, I'm going air, and that's it. The PC I just built and I've been reviewing all the parts for, I'm not gonna take that thing off and do that. That's such a pain. And currently I'm working on getting a test bench so I can do more content with reviews on different hardware configurations, but I'm not anywhere close to having that at this time. But this one didn't seem too bad, and it was $110, $120, which I do like to see. I've seen other things where they will offer like, a $30 really, really cheap heatsink that's supposed to be like this. You can't manufacture that unless they're purposely trying to undercut everybody in the market, but these people don't seem like they're undercutting anybody at the price point that they had it at. And I think it might be RGB, which that I don't really care. I would use probably my own fans with it. But when you're looking at coolers in relation to anything you'd want to have in your system, air cooling is a little bit easier to test with because that should have a long-lasting stability to it because there's no parts to really go wrong unless you're talking about the fans themselves going wrong. And so I guess it only had 2 fans and a front fan and a middle fan. And I was like, this isn't too bad if I could test this somewhere. Verify the clearance and everything. That RAM does not look like normal RAM here. And they tell you 42 to 62 millimeters. Who's measuring in millimeters? I don't know. But what captures me about this one, though, is how much it says it can handle. And those 8 heat pipes would be huge. So I wouldn't be against that particular product and throwing it through a review, but I don't have a review system and a test bench for it. So I'd be a little limited in that capacity. But it seems like relatively high quality. If I were to get an air cooler, I would probably have picked some sort of Noctua air cooler because those seem to be like the best of the best right now. There's a not a Chrono, that's another guy. But there was some sort of Noctua cooler that was really, really impressive. And I was like, oh, that one wouldn't be too bad. But this one, I was like, I could see this one doing something. I can't see reviews or anything based on what I did. That's fine. I don't care. We're just going through the products. The next product is another cooler that they have that's only $50 that might have different clearance things. It's got 6 heat pipes and just the 2 fans. This would be more similar to some of those other sort of coolers that you've seen in the past from other manufacturers, Cooler Master. So I wouldn't waste my time on a lower end cooler like this. I would go for the higher end cooler, and then plus just checking the reviews to see what people are talking about with the reviews. I don't know why this page is working fine, but the other ones wanted to break. That's fine. But a lot of these too, the reviews could just be that they were purchased because they were given them for free. That's why reviews are really difficult to trust now. You know, unless they have to say the Vine customer product, but I've never been a part of the Vine, so I have no idea what that would be. But that was a semi-interesting piece for like the lower cost things. $50 is about what most standard coolers would be, and 6 heat pipes is definitely a pretty good starting point there. The next one is a very expensive all-in-one liquid cooler with a 3.5-inch IPS display. While that seems pretty cool, all that is an additional point of failure and makes the products cost a lot more just for the sake of looking cooler. Yeah, it looks cooler, but I don't like having those additional parts of failure and then just the additional thing. Already, you can't see it right now, but already today before I was going live, my IQ software from Corsair that controls my keyboard and my lights on my computer for the all-in-one, I wanted to break 3 times. I was like, okay, that was annoying. But I would not have an interest in testing an all-in-one cooler. The only all-in-one cooler I would consider testing would be something from Asus themselves, because I would like to get more experience with their coolers. I've been using Corsair and Fractal coolers, as I mentioned in previous videos, for such a long time, I haven't needed to try anything else. So I would probably only try Asus next to kind of see where they're at on things for temperature and longevity, but I wouldn't try something like this because it may perform amazingly well and may be one of the best coolers on the market. But it doesn't matter because what you really want to know about is their pump reliability and if it's going to last. Because it doesn't matter how cool it keeps your system. If it's only going to keep it cool for 2 weeks, 2 months, and then it breaks. I had a terrible experience with another brand back 2016 or so. I made a video about it, but I never released it, where I was working with this brand's manufacturer's all-in-one cooler, and it was the only 360 millimeter cooler on the market at that time. And I was like, I don't want to buy this brand because I had seen the reviews of people talking about the pump failures, which sometimes it could just be bad installations or just some other problems with it that's causing the pump failures. I bought one, and lo and behold, I think within 4 months, I had a pump failure. First time I've ever had a pump failure. And it's like, okay, I don't want to deal with that anymore. Thankfully, more manufacturers came out with 360 millimeter radiators after that point, but that was not a fun situation. So I'm very weary to trust other manufacturers that want to come out with things I've never even heard of before. So I've never heard of these guys before. I don't think I've ever seen them when I'm looking anything up. And yeah, they got 4.7, but they only have 4 reviews. And I get that they might be pretty new in the market too. I have no idea when these guys came out. I don't know about their warranty support or even anything that would be offered. Yeah, let's see if they have, what can you search, warranty? So the trusted quality. Founded in 2005, and I've never heard of them before. I don't know about that. But 2-year warranties on all products with up to 12 years on the power supplies. Now I'll get to the power supplies in a minute. I need my water. Yo, what's up? I don't know why I put my water on the other side of the table. 2-year warranty on an all-in-one cooler is terrible. It's not even worth your time. Because they can't even build the product that they can expect to last for more than 2 years. So I wouldn't be putting any of my equipment through that at all. They would have to have at least a 5-year warranty for me to consider them. And yeah, so wouldn't do anything with the all-in-ones. Pump failures, it's just not worth it. Yeah, cool screen, but do we really need screens everywhere? I mean, you're not looking at your computer all the time. For me, it's on the wall behind me. It's mounted on the wall. I'm not going to look at it. I want it to be a nice visual piece for you guys, but I'm not going to look at it any other way. So we get out of that one. And then here's another cooler. I don't quite know what the exact difference was on this one because I just clicked all the links that were in the emails. This is a 3.4-inch display. And this one is a 3.5 versus a 3.4 inch. But still an all-in-one cooler that I would not trust with my components with. Because I don't care how cool the features are, I need my stuff to just last. So we've already said our pieces about the coolers. We got another all-in-one cooler just in white. Again, the most expensive isn't always the best, but the cheapest is usually always the worst. That looks cool, right? $50, it's a lightning deal, but $50 for a cooler? Uh-uh. No. The all-in-one cooler that I got from Corsair, the 360 RS that I reviewed and unboxed, that was $110. And that was just because the fans were basic and it didn't come with any RGB. That was an understandable price, and that was okay. And this one might not have any special cooling to it. It's got this cool little Infinity Halo CNC chamber shell that they call it with a transparent frame. Like that's cool, but I don't know, $50 is really, really cheap for a liquid cooler. You'd want to be really wary of that. And then another liquid cooler with a 2.4-inch display. So they just have different sizes for the displays. I mean, that's still not of any interest to me. Going on next are the computer cases. They have a mini ITX case, which anybody that's here, welcome to Tidbits. I'm going to be releasing a video at some point in the future. I've already filmed it and we're working on editing it, where I talk about why you don't really necessarily want to build your first computer as a mini ITX. So this case would not be of interest to me. But the alluring factor of this will be because it has a handle and it's really small. Does it have cooling? It very possibly might. I had a mini ITX from Fractal that was probably one of the best cases on the market at that point, but I wouldn't put this much heat inside of a system. So I wouldn't have any interest in doing a mini ITX case. They have a 40% off coupon. Make it cheap, but you want to avoid some of those traps where it's going to be that, cheap. And then they had another mid-tower tempered glass in black and white case that seems fine in and of itself. I haven't looked at it all that much. Cases, usually I like Corsair, Fantex, Leon Lee, and Asus. Those are like kind of the four main manufacturer cases that I end up going for. Fancier cases, I mean, this one doesn't have a specialized thing for the graphics card to be sitting on a riser cable, so that's a plus in my book, because those riser cables are usually junk, and if they're not a problem in the beginning, they will be a point of failure at some point in the future, usually. And this fan configuration, this is it can take ATX builds, which is nice. It's got the 3 fans on the bottom, which I like to see, 2 fans on the side, 3 on the top, 1 in the rear. It could be a pretty decent case overall. I'd have to actually build with it, though, to see how the build experience would be. Because when you start, this might be built in mind for having a ITX, mini ATX case, because you would have a lot more room. You can see that when you put in that mini ITX, the full ATX case, it's eaten up quite a bit, and you might not have enough room on the bottom here to put everything where you want to put it. And everything tries to focus on, look how many all-in-ones and all the fan spaces and all the radiator spaces you can put in there. That's nice and all, but you still want to have a big enough case that can support everything. And this one here, notice how they have some pictures of everything. They only have the graphics card plugged in. Which, doesn't that look like 1, 2... Yeah, so there's like 3 cables going through. But they don't have the power for the PC, for the CPU or the board over here. One of the things I dislike about a lot of cases is that when you install the board up here, you can't access the 8-pin CPU connection unless you take the top fans out. That's terrible. I hate working on computers like that. So that'd be one reason why I wouldn't necessarily like a smaller sort of case, but it doesn't look terrible in everything that it offers. I don't know if this comes with the fans either, but this would kind of be, this and that first air cooler would be the only 2 products that kind of caught my eye that I would be willing to try from them, but I don't have a system to build out in it to be able to test. But if it is open, like they say it could be, and you can remove the tempered glass on both sides, then that would be really cool for a test bench, because you have this big wide open spaces to work on. But you need to have clearance, though, at the top, like I said up here, to be able to access that power supply connection. Because if you don't, then every time you do something, you have to remove the power, you have to remove the fans, and just when you have to do it multiple times, you want it to be as easy as possible. But power supply goes in the back, hard drive's in the back. You know, it's kind of a common sort of build case there, but it's not awful. Excuse me, but like I said, I have to build in it to kind of see. We couldn't load the review. Okay, that's fine. I built a custom loop in this case. We don't need to do custom loops everywhere. We really, really don't. They look cool, but again, that's another hobbyist thing. So let's see. This guy put a lot of heat in this system, though. But it comes with fans, so that's nice. But you got it for free, so it's kind of hard to, you know. Free products don't guarantee a positive review from me. Built out of a weaker metal, there's some flex. I mean, that's can be a common thing there. But if it has a pretty good fan hub, that's not too bad. So that's just one of the parts that I would consider this case, as well as that other cooler. And then the final two products are just power supplies. A 1000 watt 80 plus gold and then a 1200 watt 80 plus gold. These have 12-year warranties, which is nice, 12 and 10-year warranties respectively, and they're fully modular. But a power supply is really something that you don't want to just throw caution to the wind and just be like, oh, it's cheap, it looks good, it's free, whatever. You want to be really, really careful with the power supplies, because a bad power supply in your build can compromise and wreck everything. Because a good power supply, if you happen to be subject to brownouts and spikes and power surges, the good power supply will soak up those hits and act as the first line of defense, sacrificing itself before your other components get touched. Bad power supplies, weak power supplies, not saying this is one of them, but others that are out there will take that hit and be like, no, I don't want to get hurt. And they'll just pass, they'll either get hurt and pass everything off, or they won't get hurt and they'll pass everything off to your other components, killing your board, processor, GPU, all-in-one cooler, etc. And your drives. It's just not worth it to test it with a power supply. And so my stuff with power supplies have to be really, 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 really rigid on those, because I've replaced thousands upon thousands of power supplies, and I've seen every manufacturer pretty much be replaced. But given the circumstances of what I've heard, good power supplies that will soak up the hits first, because not everything is going to be immune to being hit. I mean, it's electrical, it's lightning strikes, it's high voltage. That's going to damage electronics. But good power supplies that will absorb the hit, Asus, Corsair, Seasonic. Those are the ones that will absorb it. Some EVGAs will absorb it, but they will also just kind of die on their own a little bit more prematurely. But this isn't a power supply review video. All that to say, I wouldn't trust my components with this random power supply, because it also comes based off of longevity, and you won't know how good a power supply is when you first have it. There are some indicators. You're running something on the power supply, you're pushing your system really hard and really heavy, and your power supply can't keep up. That's a real thing that could happen. That would be known relatively right away. But you buy a good brand power supply, you're not going to have that issue. But it's really the longevity and whether or not it can withstand any of the stuff that's going to be going on throughout that 10, 12 year lifespan that you're going to be putting it through. So also, if you're going for if I was going to get a 1200 watt, 1000 watt gold rated, that's a little too low for me. I'd want to get platinum or titanium rated, so that way it's like as good as humanly possible. Yes, it's expensive, but it's a cornerstone of your power of your computer. Don't we want these things to last? Isn't that the goal in being a hobbyist and building these things? We want them to last as long as we want them to, not just, go with the first issue. But if you have any comments or thoughts on that, let me know what they are. I still haven't replied. If you see videos and reviews coming up, then you know that I did reply. But it would just be those two components. Cases, though, like I said, they're difficult to trust or to judge unless you've done a build with them. And this particular liquid cooler, air cooler, I don't have a system to use it on. So maybe in the future, but I'd hate to say, yes, I want to do this. Send me the parts. I won't review it for 6 months. So I might reply to William and kind of see how that goes. But that was that part. That way you guys could just kind of see the stuff I get messaged. So I'm going to make that, though, as a mark of a potential. Man, I am very thirsty today. All right, so let's see here then. What is on the agenda then for the rest of the day? Because it was those two things. It is 1:30 just about. I'd like to stream for another 45 minutes or so before I have to do my other adult-based responsibilities. As much as I'd love to do this all day. I'd love to game if I could, but you know how it goes. Plus, we have 7 concurrent viewers right now. You guys are awesome for watching. Because 7 viewers for 1 hour, 7 hours total. And we're trying really hard to work towards that monetization. I'm not quite ready to discuss it in full yet, but we're getting close to where I'm going to be giving you guys daily updates on where the monetization is at on probably my gaming Discord, probably on my Twitter, post updates on YouTube, all that fun stuff. Let's see. I guess I have like a couple of comments I think I can reply to. It's weird having all these monitors and all these things in different places. Only seemingly 2 comments to reply to today. Right now, anyway. That's not too bad. Wait, let's get some reactions. Yeah, get those hearts. Yeah. I went over OBS and forgot that I could do that. Is that daggone thing still in the way? Okay, hold on. Let me get... I am done doing the reviews for now, so I can move... There we go. Ugh. I can't tell if I need to buy IP cam or not. Because so far it's not told me that I need to, and I was able to do everything, I think. I don't think the quality was that bad either. So, we'll see. All right, there we go. That gets that camera cable that was hanging down out of the way there. And I'm realizing I kind of like to sit more in the middle, where I thought I'd be liking to sit more over here to the left. That's pretty far away, though. But that just might be because of the way the camera's set up. Let me move this. There we go. Yeah, talking about the Windows 11 end of support. Hey. My honey bunny. Windows 11 end of support here. Somebody commenting about one of the questions that I was concerned about is that will Microsoft allow you to continue to get updates? Which it might. I just got a message. This is going to be like somebody telling me, hey, you don't have any sound. Okay. Oh, I also wanted to work on OBS, getting the cool little layout and stuff, but that's like, because I like the, oh, my calf. All right, hold on. I like the border that I have from one of the other scenes, like the computer browse. I like that border. Oh, I'm covering up the Dantec over there. That's fun. But I like the border that I have. But I'd really like to get some different scenes. But that's so much stuff. Whoops, wrong one. There's so much stuff that I gotta try to get. It just wouldn't be worth it for me to do that on stream. I don't have enough time right now to do that. I don't really know what I have enough time for. What do I have enough time for? I've got roughly 30 minutes or so left. 40 minutes or so. Oh, let me make sure I save that. Because did I talk about... I don't think I talked about anything else that needs to be turned into a video from this stream either. I think we're just kind of set on that. Oh, yeah, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to try to figure out what short to release today. That would be a good thing, because I'll have a short go live shortly after, after this. Let's see. I've got a draft here for risks of using Windows 10 beyond support, or Samsung SSD's reliability and speed, or some CPU ones. I think the Windows 10 one is pretty good right now. Yeah, I could do that. I think that'd be a decent one. It's funny, like how long, if you want to make all these videos and you want them to have like really, really good content and titles and SEOs and descriptions, how much time it takes to make sure that everything is altered in the correct way. And all of it matters. Like to edit a short requires more dedication in the description because you can't have a long description in a short. It's all these things that just don't make any sense. It's like if you know it and you can get it done correctly, it can really help you. But if you don't know it, it's like quite the ordeal. I like that. Risks of using Windows 10 after end of support. I also ate a really big breakfast lunch today. It was about 9 o'clock. So I shouldn't be as hungry, I think, as I am right now, but it's, I guess, natural to be a little bit hungrier. All right, and then I found out other comments because I went to my short and like, oh, I have other comments I can reply to. Still, though, so bummed about how they got rid of how you can actually work on the updates, though. Not the updates, the comment replies with this stuff. It's crazy because there's no clear way for me to see what people have been replying to on the comments unless I want to scroll through like all these different things. Okay. You know, 3 monitors is way better than 2. I have no idea what you're saying there, my friend. I can barely, but I can only speak and read English. Speaking it is debatable, though. All right, let's do that over there. And let's move this window over here and make it a little bit smaller. I can see both things at the same time. There we go. That's a lot easier there. Let's see what would be a good time to release this. I've been trying to figure out good times for release dates for these like videos for shorts, but nothing ever really seems to matter. I a lot of times will get the same views after a period of time anyway. Wait, do I already have that? This is a very similar short to another short that I already had on the channel. Because I think it was for Windows 10. I think I put like your apps will break. Worried about Windows 10 end of life, your apps might break. I kind of already have a short like that. So I think like some risks, that'd be better. All right, there we go. I think that's not too bad. And then we got to do like Windows 10's software. All right, there we go. Then you gotta do so many tags too. I try to copy tags from other videos, and YouTube even says like tags can be useful if content in your video is commonly misspelled. Otherwise, tags play a minimal role in helping viewers find your videos. Challenge is though, YouTube themselves will make it so that your video won't get views. It's fascinating to some degree, though. How not Microsoft, how YouTube works in this way with the shorts and how they push it out. Let's try 5 o'clock today. No, that's 5 in the morning, and that's tomorrow. Today. Let's do 5 o'clock today. So it'd be 12, 1,700 hours. Because apparently YouTube will just do a test push of shorts to like a test audience. And depending on how well it does with the test audience, it will be pushed out to a broader audience. But what's really unique about that is almost every single short of mine has performed identically, no matter how quickly it reaches 1,000 views. But all right, I have that scheduled for later today. Let me go back to it, though, because I got to still do some more tags. But it's really interesting, though, how YouTube will have some bigger channels will release a short and it'll get like 50, 290 million views, you know? And then other channels will release a short that is pretty, you know, they're pretty decent size and they get like 50,000 views on their short. So it's really interesting, the ones that get pushed through. And then also, what is a fascinating and one of the most important metrics of YouTube Shorts are people, like getting somebody to watch your short is not enough. They have to watch it on repeat multiple times. So your viewership has to be greater than like 120% in order for it to be considered successful. And so what is recommended is that you loop it in a way that when your short ends, it immediately starts to the beginning and they won't know that that happened. I've seen that a couple of times. And it's just like, I don't know. It's weird. It's very interesting because when I first started doing YouTube, that shorts didn't exist. They weren't even a thing. And so now they're like kind of a necessary evil where they can let you grow in some capacities. But you got to I've not noticed any difference if I purposefully make a short and I film content specifically to be a short format, which I've done with a couple of reviews, or if I just, just take a video that I have, turn it into a short, and just go from there. But it's definitely worthwhile. And then somebody that I talked to last week, Chrono, was saying that he streams to YouTube and to YouTube Shorts, which seems amazing to do both of those. I haven't set that up just yet, but that could be a unique way. And he said that the watch hours from YouTube Shorts live streams also count, which would be good. But I can't imagine anybody on a live stream watching a short for a protracted period of time. It just doesn't make any sense. Because the nature of a short is to watch it, get informed and entertained as quickly as possible, and then move on to the next thing. Yo, what's up, Vasu? Wait, your name is familiar. Why is your name familiar? All right, I have 484 of 500 tags. I think that's good. You really like my PC build series? Well, thank you. Is that, did I know that, though? That is the big question of, did I know that? Because I feel like I knew it. But thank you for those kind words. Let me see here. Let me go to that video series. Because I had the video series as a long, and then I had the video series where I broke down each individual component. Those were a little bit more popular than I thought they would be, which was nice. I need to update the thumbnails for the case and the graphics card and the power supply still. But power supply is doing pretty good as it is. Wait, did I have something else that was up about that? Okay, cool. Got all those notifications. That should be good. Okay, make sure it's scheduled. Perfect, perfect. So you learned a lot. Awesome to hear it, and made more tutorials. You made the tutorials? And then the way I explain stuff is really nice. Well, thank you. I try to use my experience to explain things in a decent way. So as in my own little self shout out, I've been doing this for almost 20 years, and I've fixed and repaired over 20,000 PCs. And I generally build more PCs in a week than most will build in their entire lives. So I have seen a lot of the stuff. And I know what to look out for when people want to buy things, especially in today's economy, man. When things are so expensive, I want to buy something and I want it to last. I was talking earlier in the stream that me and my wife recently fixed our dryer that is 21 years old. And it just had a small little break, just some parts wore out over time. And so if you can have something and just replace it, repair it, versus having to replace it all the time, you're saving so much money in the long run. I mean, shoot, the things that I get, like these headphones that I have right here, these are from like 2016 or so. They're these great Sennheiser somethings. HD 558. The only thing that's happening though is it's starting to break a little bit on the left ear cup. Oh, and the right ear cup. Both of them are starting to break a little bit. Okay, never mind. They're both starting to break. But otherwise, they're awesome. They're wonderful. I've never had headphones really last this long before. I've never spent this much money on headphones before. Granted, I did though. I bought a SteelSeries headset that was nice at the time, but I think it started to have audio problems. But that could have been the cable. I have no idea. But I've long since gotten rid of that one. But that's awesome. Have you built a computer yet there, Vasu? All right, let's see. When you have so many tabs open that are just like, you go to the tabs and like, okay, why do I have my channel content open 3 separate times? I think we can remove that. You haven't built it yet, but you're planning to build on a similar configuration? Definitely, definitely, definitely. And it's always better to save up a little bit of money, wait a little bit longer to build what you really, really want to have versus getting something just because it's cheaper. Because that will usually burn you in the long run. Not always, because of course there are use case scenarios. I have people that bring in computers that are, you know, e-machines from Windows Vista days that still work. They're slow as all get out, but they still work. But I would have never recommended an e-machine back in the day. But they somehow still work. But of course there's always outliers like that. Of course there's going to be people that buy the exact same configuration I have, and it might not work for them. But, you know, a lot of times it comes from the build quality as well as protecting it electrically. I know it kind of looks like I feel like it looks like I'm sitting like with I'm leaning back, you know, pretty decently. So you're not a gamer, but you code a lot, so no GPU fan. Yeah, I mean, you can get, probably need some powerful enough graphics card, but unless you can do everything you need to do with the dedicated graphics chip that's already built into the Intel processor, that will work just fine as well. Saves you on the heat, saves you on the cost by a lot. And why buy stuff when you don't need it? Was it 1:56? All right, we got. I'm gonna try to push it another 15 minutes if I can. I don't know if there's anything else I really need to do though at this point. Well, is there anybody live? I don't know. I don't follow really anybody on YouTube. But once we hit monetization, which will hopefully be by the end of October, spam, by the end of October, then I will plan on also doing live streams on Twitch as well, Twitch and YouTube, and maybe Kick. We got everything kind of all set to do it. Just for right now, I want everything to be funneled to YouTube. Let me see if this worked. Editing PC? Is that what camera? Is that camera over there? Okay. That's that camera. So this is if I was going to be doing editing. Why is that kind of... There we go. That's not too bad. If I were going to be doing editing. But I don't have any... I don't have Adobe Premiere up right now. Do I have any projects to work on with Adobe Premiere? Not really yet. Because I have a handful of content that I'm still trying to edit, but I don't know what system I want to work on it with. Let's see, raw footage. I've got those to work on, but yeah. I won't have enough time to do that today, so we'll go back to the intermission / talking head. Oh, you know what I need to do a text source here. Wait, was that this one? Nope. Text. BRB. I have the... Guess that's okay. Yep. Definitely BRB for just a moment. If I forget to unmute my camera or unmute my mic, let me know. Ha! I did not forget to re-unmute the microphone, but I can get rid of the BRB. Boom. Okay, well, it's hard to end stream when we've had 7 concurrent viewers, because that's, again, every hour is 7 hours. So we just keep it going, get 7 more hours, but now who knows? I thought about doing that one time. We're just kind of like leaving everything going the way that it is. But I think for now, I'm going to go ahead and end this stream as it is. Next stream, let me see. I had some ideas of what I wanted to do on stream and everything. So today was laptop heatsink diagnosis, part sourcing, purchasing. We see all that, how well that worked out. And then I'm thinking maybe my next stream, I might do some website work in the background where you can just kind of like see me here working on the DonTech website, because that definitely needs to be done. That's one of my end of year goals that I'd really like to see done this year. But I don't know if that will actually happen. I'd like it to, but there's just so much stuff to do. But that would be kind of that. And that should be on next Monday, the 15th. What else? I mean, there's so much stuff to do. It's nuts. And then I found out too that after these go live, I have to schedule them. I can't private them, because if I private them, it like gets rid of like the watch hours and the analytics and everything. So it's really weird. So I have to like let it process, release on my channel, then I have to set it as a scheduled video. Really weird. All I want to do is like edit out, you know, like the beginning when it's like sitting at a starting for 10 minutes. That doesn't do anybody any good. So maybe I want to go another 7 minutes, so that way it's a nice even 10-minute video or a 3-hour video. That could work well. So let's check the analytics one more time and see how it is going. And the channel health is always really good. We are at 2,254 subs, which is awesome to see. The most recent video that I did, my how to install Windows 11 on any PC even without TPM 2.0, everything about that says that that should be a really, really great video. But it's been like, it started to get more views within the past today, actually, which has been nice. The reach, finally, it's gone up 2,000 impressions. Because yesterday, or even earlier this morning, it was at 500 impressions. Like, what are you doing, YouTube? So now it's at 2.5 thousand, 5.3% CTR. So it's really, really nice to see that. And 76% of viewers are still watching at around the 30-second mark. Good. I specifically made that video to do that, to be like right into the content, where it's, I immediately show the success of the video, and then I jump into a quick little hello, and then I go immediately to, this is what we need to do in order to accomplish our goals. So I thought that was kind of like a neat, you know, try out for that like 10-minute video, because a lot of people want to just get right into it. And that's, besides my live streams that don't show that, some of the videos, if I can make it that way, is always nice. But if you haven't seen that video, definitely make sure that you check it out. It is a pretty decent video taken from a live stream. But just like all these will be eventually taken from the live stream. Can I see the analytics of this video? Nice. So the analytics, according to this video, is that it has had 16.5 hours of watch time. So 3 hours of my time for 16 hours. That's not a bad trade-off. Pretty quick trade-off there. And let's see. But yeah, so the next will be just a day, the rest of my day for everything else I need to do. But we'll be okay. We'll be okay this time. Oh wait, I had music. I need to close the music tab. Oh, another thing I want to try, some fun video ideas for the future that I have. One idea is doing Linux as an installation, a lot of people like Linux and they're using Linux Mint. So I'd probably get the Mint distro on my Asus laptop, try to download it on that, see how that would work. And then I also want to see how old of a PC can I install Windows 11 on. We're talking like some really old equipment systems. I've got some computers that are from 2006, maybe. Got a really nice Dell XPS laptop, or maybe it's a Precision workstation, but they look the exact same. And it's like from Windows XP days. It could be quite the hassle to not only show it correctly because it won't connect via HDMI out, and there's probably no driver support whatsoever for it, but it could at least be cool to see if we can get an install on it. But it would have to be, it would be really dependent on if Intel, not Intel, but if Windows has the built-in driver support for that old of hardware. So, but those are some potential things on the horizon. But thank you guys so much for watching this live stream. Do I have an out? I don't have an ending. I don't have an end. I just kind of end, don't I? I want that end screen, but I'm stealing. All right, I'll do it. Ending scene. I forgot. I can't go to it and edit it unless I'm on it. So, never mind. When I'm okay. I'll set that up for later then. I just end the stream. I'm stealing. Funny stuff. But thank you guys, everybody that's watched this video in the past, present, and in the future. Join me along with this little live stream and everything like that. We're working hard towards all of our goals. Give this video a like if it was helpful to you. Thank you so much for watching. Feel free to subscribe as well. And I will see you in the next live stream and or video. And remember, the Don's got your back. And the Don doesn't know how to end this. Because you got to stop. Then I have to confirm stop. Peace.